Why we need to add servlet dependency? Because, as I said, so Spring MVC is an advanced version of servlets. So internally it is using servlets. Okay. So hence we need to add MVC also. We need to add the servlet also. But for servlet dependency, we will not use servlet API. We use Jakarta servlet because servlet API is an advanced version of Jakarta servlet. The advanced version of Jakarta servlet. Okay. Now let me add the dependencies, Spring Web MVC, paste, and then we need to add Jakarta Servlet dependence. This is the highest usage. Copy this and add it. So two dependencies we are supposed to add and then save the project. Save the project once you are done. So I have already done the build path configuration and updation. You people know, okay, if you are creating new project, do the build path configuration, update the project, add these two dependencies. This is what we are supposed to add it in your pom.xml file. Add them and let me know if it is done. After all this work, anyway you are it. one package. And I'll create a case. So this is a controller class. So I'll have home controller. I'll give the class name as controller. Now here, this controller class must be annotated with @controller. Now that okay. It should be annotated with @controller. Now what we will do here, in servlets we will creating servlet classes. Now here we will create servlet methods. Okay, here we create servlet methods. The methods will be having the URLs. So whatever we were doing it in a class, we do it in a method in the controller class. Now let me create one method. Public return type should be string, and then say I. And what you should return. Always remember, in string and easy, output should be shown in the front end. Output should be shown in the front end. So you have to return a JSP file. In MVC HTML JSP file under the path sample dot JSP. Here I'll have a h1 tag and I'll tell welcome to MVC session. Okay, now this page I need to return. So return in double quotes, give sample dot JSP. Give sample dot JSP. Okay, this is my controller class. And this is the method, the servlet method. So if you trigger this method, this particular JSP will be listed. How to trigger this method? The method should have URL. So to specify URL on the method, we use @request mapping and specify the URL. Okay. Now here, what we need to do, we need to create two more classes. They are called configuration classes. We need to create two more classes, that is two configuration classes. First class I create, that is my config. This we have used in Spring Core also. So this should be annotated with @configuration. Okay, @configuration done. Now one more annotation we have to use here. What is it? Now we have Spring container. Spring container, so that we give the package name. No, here it is a different way. Okay, here we use annotation to give the package name. So below @configuration, you need to specify @component scan, and it has an attribute called base package, and then in double quotes you need to specify the package. Here we will not be creating a Spring container. Instead, package name you have to give it to this. So component scan, whatever package you give, it will scan that package. It will scan that particular package for the component classes. Okay. So first class you need to create, that is my config, annotate with @configuration, annotate with @component scan, where you give the package. This is one configuration class. Another configuration class you need to create, that is initializer class. Why is this? What do we do with it? Everything I'll explain. Okay. Now just observe. Now this initializer class, it should extend one inbuilt class. Abstract, annotation, config, dispatcher, servlet. Yeah, this one. It should inherit one inbuilt class, abstract, annotation, config, dispatcher, servlet, initializer. Don't worry about why we have to do it. I'll explain. Okay. So this is a abstract class. This is abstract class. It has abstract methods. So just hover on this arrow and click on add unimplemented methods. So three methods you will get. Okay, three methods you have to override. Three methods must be overridden. Now, first method it is not required for us. Just don't touch it. Second method, get servlet config class. Now, whatever config class you created, no, that you need to specify here. That you have to give it in array format. So create one array here, new class array, and in flower basis specify that myconfig.class. myconfig class. Okay. Now this get servlet now. So here you need to create one string array, new string array within flower basis in double quotes give forward slash. Just give the forward slash. Why we are doing this, don't worry. Now I'll explain it. So two configuration classes we need to create. One is myconfig, which has these two annotations. Another one is initializer, which extends this class, override the three method, in that modify the last one. Modify the last one. Done. Now my controller will work. How to execute this? Start the server as usual. Okay, here you need to select 10.1, finish. 9.0 will not work for Spring. Okay, you have to use 10.1. So when you start the server, you get the hello world. You get that hello world. Now trigger your URL hi. Hi is the URL you have given for your method no, in the controller. Trigger that, it will give you the JSP. Welcome to MVC session. So to execute the simple code, this is all we have to do it in MVC. Now this myconfig and initializer is only once. So in controller we can have multiple methods. Return type should be string and you have to return GSP base itself. Understood? Yeah. Execute.
ये देखो लाइन है।
Those who are done, create another method, another JSP file, give a different URL, and see you are able to do it on your own. Initializer and config is only one. I said to create another method in the controller with a different ASP and different URL. Did I anywhere specify to create new class for anything? Others done? Did you create another method? Others isn't done. If you don't respond, I will continue. Right. So next we need to see how to read data from frontend. Let's have a method. So we are trying to understand how to read data from frontend. Okay. Now in order to read data from frontend, we have multiple ways. Okay. The first option is using HTTP servlet request. It's using HTTP servlet request. The second way is using utter request param. Using utter request param. And the third way is using utter model attribute. So we'll try to understand what is the difference. All three ways I'll show you how to read the data. So first, I'll create a JSP file in which I'll create a form. So let's have a form. In which I'll take name, age, gender. Okay. I have input type text and the name equals I have name. Let me copy this and give your age and give your gender. And another input type submit value submit I will give. Now, so I have created the form. Now I am in the URL as again. Now go back to my controller. I need to create a method in return type as string. And then I will the method name as read data. So for that I need to give the URL request mapping / done. Now the first way is using HTTP servlet request. So you need to take the argument HTTP servlet request argument. You need to take user request reference variable and then call the get parameter method and give the get parameter method give the name, store it in a reference variable. Okay, the same way how we were doing it in the servlet. So here also it is the same one, age and then gender. Here also age, gender. Have a printing statement and print plus age plus gender. Done. Now you have to return any JSP, right? I will return the same JSP. Okay. For now, what I am returning, it doesn't matter. We are trying to understand how to read the data from the front end to the controller. This is the first way using HTTP servlet request. Now let's see whether the data is read or not. So you need to execute the form. Start the server. Already use this, and you have to execute that form.jsp. You have form with the name of that form page. So, but look at the output in the console. Yes, the data is read. Okay, whatever data we are giving in the front end, it is being read. It is same as your servlet how we were doing it. Now this is first. This is first way of doing. Now second way is using @request parameter. So for that, what we need to do? So I have the same URL, same method, string read data. Done. Okay. So what you need to do? You need to declare variables for each field. How many fields do we have? We have three. We have three fields. So for three fields, you need to declare a variable. So I'll take string customer name or employee name. Next is age, no? Employee age. And third one is gender, string, employee gender. Declare three variables. To read the three fields. Now before that variable, you need to specify @request param annotation. For that @request param, not here, before the variable request param. Now for that request param, in double quotes, in the form whatever name you had given. The same thing you can print it. The same thing you have to give it for @request param. Same goes for age. @request param within the braces double quote, give the same thing which you have given it in the form. Same here also, request param double quotes gender. Okay, so once you do this, it will automatically read it. It will automatically read it. So I'll just print. Directly print. Here you need to print the variables, the local variable. Employee name, employee age, employee gender. Yeah. Okay. Finally, I will return sample.js. Done. So using request para, this is how we are supposed to do it. Now let me start the server. Execute the form. Form.jsp. Keep the data. Submit. Look at here, the data is entered. This is the second way using request para. What is the difference? If you use get parameter, everything you will get it in a string format only. But request para, look, it is giving you an int format. It will only do the conversion for you. Okay, it will only do the conversion for you. So this is the second way of doing it. Now the third way. Let me have the same method. After first. Now the third way how to do it. So for whatever field you have, whatever field you are taking it from the form, create one class and declare them as variable. And create a class called employee. Now here, what and all fields you are taking? Name, age, gender. The same name you have to give for the variable. So I'll use int age, string name, string gender. You have to create a class and declare the variables. Create a class, declare the variables. We need getters and setters. So I'll make it as private. Okay. Generate getters and setters. Select all. Generate. Done. Now what is the one thing you have to remember? The data member name should be same as the form name, whatever you have given in the form. Okay. So you create a class, have the members, create getters and setters. Now go to controller. Here you need to have employee reference variable. Okay. Before that employee reference variable, use @model attribute. @model attribute. Now what does @model attribute will do? It will create the object of employee. Okay. What model attribute will do? It will create the object of employee, and whatever data that is coming from the form, it will only store inside this employee object. Model attribute, it will create the employee object, and whatever data that is coming from the form, it will only store inside that employee object. How to verify? Use that employee reference. Use that employee reference and call the getter methods and just print it. Employee.get gender and employee.get name, and then I will return sample.js. Okay, done. So we have a method that is having an employee reference variable which is annotated with @model attribute. So it will create the object of employee, and whatever data that is coming from the form will be stored inside this employee object. So to verify, I am just calling the getter methods. using that employee object whether it is fetching the data or not, we will understand. To start the server, execute the form, give the data, submit. Now go back and check. Look, you're getting the data. So when you want to read the data in a complete object format, you can use model attribute. You can use model attribute. So these are the three ways in which you can read the data from the form. Understood? There is nothing here. So execute one by one and see if it is working for all the three ways. Go back. Edit. It is not identifying as a controller. Open my config. Open initialize. Create another class, allocate to controller, create the same method but give a different URL and